We start with the heavy hitter right away, former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson with some trouble on his hands.
Right. Mike Tyson charged today with rape, criminal deviant conduct, and confinement resulting from a complaint filed by an 18-year-old beauty contestant who claims the former heavyweight champion raped her on the night of July 19th in Indianapolis. Tyson refused to comment today on the grand jury indictment and remains in Las Vegas training for his November 8th title fight against heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield. Tyson flew to Indianapolis late last month and voluntarily testified to the grand jury investigating panel, which Monday concluded there's sufficient evidence to prosecute him. Tyson's expected later this week to turn himself into authorities to be formally charged, post $30,000 bond, and have pre-trial and trial dates set. Tyson and the alleged victim were both in Indianapolis in July attending Black Expo.
The victim was led to believe that her meeting with Tyson was to be platonic. In fact, however, Tyson intended to have sexual relations with her. When she refused his advances, Tyson had forced non-consensual sex with the victim.
Tyson's promoter Don King called the indictment unfortunate, but maintains the fighter's innocence, while Tyson's attorney expressed similar sentiments while remaining confident of his client's innocence and eventual vindication. Indianapolis attorney David Hennessy, who locally represents the alleged victim, told CNN he's pleased that, quote, Mike Tyson's actions have been validated through indictment by the grand jury. Her family is pleased that justice is being done, and she fully intends to pursue prosecution.
Hopeful now that the indictment has been returned, that the prosecutor and others can give her the undivided support that she will need during the trying times ahead of her, because we fully expect, if it hasn't already started, that it will soon start, that Tyson's controllers and his hangers-on will begin their attack in a smear campaign against a fine young woman that's been very courageous, and she must steel herself and be strong because she is doing it, because it is the right thing.
Tyson, meanwhile, appeared at last week's news conference launching promotion of his fight with Holyfield. Promoter Dan Duva told us Monday he anticipated the indictment, but that, quote, Tyson has a contractual and constitutional right to fight, and that the title fight will go forward. The alleged victim's attorney, Edward Gerstein, told us, quote, from what I've read of Mike Tyson's past, it's apparent he's had a pattern of doing what he wants and not being held accountable. Tyson's been accused before of several incidents of sexual harassment and been convicted of assault and battery associated with one such encounter. Tyson faces up to 63 years in jail if convicted on all counts. The prosecutor has already said any trial date would not be able to be scheduled until after the November 8th fight between Tyson and Holyfield. Meanwhile, rival promoter Bob Arum called on Nevada boxing officials tonight to, quote, do the decent thing and strip Tyson of his boxing license by involving a never-before-used regulation that allows for suspension if a fighter is arrested or convicted on charges involving moral turpitude. The Nevada Commission says it will address and meet that question, but Dan Duva, who's promoting the fight, says the Commission would have to prove they've invoked the clause in every incident, and that Arum's suggestion would clearly be declared unconstitutional.
Maximum prison sentence of 63 years. A contestant in this summer's Miss Black America pageant claims Tyson assaulted her on July 19th in an Indianapolis hotel room. The prizefighter says he's innocent. Here's what the public has to say.
She's a gold digger. She's trying to get some cash. Tyson didn't rape anyone.
Negative attention always helps people's careers. It's the way the media is.
Well, the guy's innocent until proven guilty.
I don't think that it's true, so I think that they're just kind of throwing it on him. I don't think he's stupid enough to do it more than once.
Bail has been set at $30,000 and a warrant has been issued for Tyson's arrest. As for the November 8th Tyson-Holyfield bout, promoters say they have no intention of canceling the much-anticipated fight.
Coming up next on SportsCenter, Mighty Mike Tyson, the former heavyweight champion of the world, surrenders to Indiana authorities to answer a charge of rape.
And I love women, you know what I mean? My mother's a woman. I respect them as well. And of course, you know what I mean? Every time I trust one and get involved with one in a certain way like this, something happens, so I'm confused.
Vulnerable is not a word that has been associated with Mighty Mike Tyson over the years, but as he arrived in Indianapolis today, the once indestructible Mike Tyson looked very vulnerable indeed.
Indeed he did. This is the second day since the rape indictment of former heavyweight champion Mike Tyson. He returned to the city of the alleged crime early this morning where he proclaimed his innocence. His attorney asked the judge for a gag order in the morning, but Tyson and his promoter Don King held a news conference this afternoon. Here now a chronicle of the past 18 hours. Tyson's long night's journey into day began in Las Vegas late last night as he boarded a red-eye for Indianapolis.
I feel great. I can't wait till November 8th. I just want to fight. I'm trying to do a job here. You know what I mean? And, you know what I mean? This is ridiculous.
How worried are you about all this?
Huh?
Are you worried in any way?
Like I said before, I know I'm innocent. And it's going to be proven that I'm innocent. You think this is going to affect your training for the fight? Not at all. Not at all.
It's only going to motivate him and inspire him more because he see the overall picture and what it's all about. You know, he knows that he didn't do nothing, and so he's going to prove to the world he didn't do nothing by going to court and doing it. And getting ready for the fight, I pity Evander. Oh, he's in for big trouble.
At 6:20 this morning Eastern Time, Tyson and his entourage arrived in Indianapolis. 3 hours later, the former heavyweight champion, with a different entourage of court officials and attorneys, entered the courtroom of Marion County Superior Court Judge Patricia Gifford. The first round in the fight to clear his name lasted less than 10 minutes. A plea of not guilty was entered. A motion for change of venue requested. And then it was off to the county jail, where Tyson was fingerprinted, had his mugshot taken, and then he was released on a $30,000 bond. While Tyson was in Indianapolis, picket signs were there too, some which read, "Justice before greed," and "Postpone the bout." In Washington, the National Organization for Women announced its position on the Holyfield-Tyson fight.
Insofar as us taking a national statement as to whether the fight should continue, as I said, we have due process in this country. We're not going to convict this man as we did not with the Smith case or in any of these other cases, convict somebody before they go through a trial.
This afternoon, Tyson and his ever-present promoter, Don King, held a news conference. Tyson claiming his innocence and professing his love and respect for women.
You don't understand. I said I love them and I respect them. You know, I'm confused that, you know what I mean, every incident you see someone say I pinched them or someone jumps on top of my head or something and said he grabbed me. And you know what I mean, that's redundant, man. Like I said before, knows what happened in the room. I know what happened, and I know I'm innocent.
Reporters at the news conference were surprised when Tyson and Don King repeatedly used the name of the alleged rape victim.
If you're going to go out there, you should be out there on Front Street. You know what I mean? Now, no, that's the strategy. But let me tell you about the strategy here in Marion County. Anything that happens here is a press release and a front page story. You got to understand something, that before we came here, we hadn't said anything to anybody. You know what I mean? But every time that the grand jury would meet, everything they would do, every time the police would go out somewhere, anybody they talked to, it was a press release. So when we say about the girl, there ain't nothing sanctimonious about she's the one that accused. And the one thing about American system of justice, that you can face your accuser. And this is what it's all about.
Edward Gerstein, the attorney for the alleged victim, told me this afternoon he was not surprised by Tyson and King naming his victim. Gerstein says that Tyson did not show any respect for her on July 19th. He certainly didn't show any respect today. Gerstein said that his client is distraught by Tyson and King mentioning her name, but she did not expect anything different.
Many believe Mike Tyson could self-destruct. The former heavyweight champ is facing his most serious brush with the law. He is accused of raping an 18-year-old beauty contestant. Tyson is also charged with 2 counts of criminal deviant conduct and 1 count of confinement. If convicted on all 4 charges, he could face up to 63 years in prison.
The victim was led to believe that her meeting with Tyson was to be platonic. In fact, however, Tyson intended to have sexual relations with her. When she refused his advances, Tyson had forced non-consensual sex with the victim.
In late August, Tyson spent several hours testifying before the 6-member Indianapolis grand jury that delivered the indictment. A contestant in the Miss Black America pageant says Tyson raped her on July 19th at an Indianapolis hotel. Tyson was in town as guest of the Indiana Black Expo and attended some pageant events.